the same processes. If you look up to your left, you'll see a hydraulic mining cannon working the beaches of working Fairplay Beach area. And if you look down below to the right, you'll see the hydraulic mining at the Alma Placer in the 1800s. So you're probably asking yourself, well, I jumped ahead, but the next process here is a photo of the South Platte dredge from the 1940s. This is the dredge that dug up and processed all the dredge piles east of Highway 285 that we see today. So if you're asking yourself, why does this matter? Well, it matters because of one thing. Both hydraulic mining and dredge mining used massive amounts of mercury in their process. The typical gold sluice in a hydraulic mining operation was charged with several hundred pounds of liquid mercury to begin every season, with an average annual mercury loss rate of 25%. A sluice lost several hundred pounds of liquid mercury to the environment every operating season, resulting in highly contaminated sediments below and in the operations of that sluice. In California alone, it has been estimated by the United States Geological Survey that more than 10 million pounds of liquid mercury were lost to the environment between 1850 and 1880. In addition to that, large dredge operations use mercury as well. They would take that fines they pulled out of the tailings, wash them through a sluice that was loaded with liquid mercury, or the fines would pass over mercury-coated copper plates. Much the same as hydraulic mining, massive amounts of liquid mercury were lost out the back of the dredge. At the time, it was believed that burying the contaminated sediments under the cobble that we see today was safe. Today, we know that mercury is not safe. It's a potent neurotoxin that bioaccumulates in the ecosystem when introduced into a wet anaerobic environment. So why weren't we talking about this years ago? Well, things have gotten worse in the last 2 years. We now have large-scale mining operations taking place on historical mining sediments, potentially releasing the entombed mercury into the middle fork of the South Platte River, as well as the town of Fairplay, located 300 meters from this photo. You've never seen signs like this in South Park, but you may. Nowhere in the newly issued permits is mercury mentioned, much less protocols put in place to deal with that mercury should it be encountered. I ask you, shouldn't our regulatory agencies be testing for it? When mercury-contaminated sediments are disturbed by activities such as mining, the mercury is released into today's environment. Should that include a wet anaerobic environment such as lakes, riverbanks, and wetlands, the mercury will likely go through a complex biological process known as mercury methylation. Once again, mercury is a potent neurotoxin that affects the nervous system and bioaccumulates in the ecosystem. Some of the effects of mercury poisoning are irreversible deterioration of the nervous system, speech, hearing, vision, gait impairment, involuntary muscle spasms, but most notably, children and fetuses are the most sensitive. Methylmercury can cause many types of problems in children, including brain and nervous system damage, mental retardation, mental impairment, seizures, abnormal muscle tone, as well as problems with coordination. And all this is happening in Fairplay. If you look up to the left, the yellow line represents the existing permitted operations, the existing operations of the AU mine operating on, if you look at the gray, you can see that is all historical hydraulic mining sediments. If you look at the red line, that is the new rezoned and currently permitted expansion of the mine. Almost immediately, any erosion from the site enters into the wetland basins of the South Platte River and then into the shallow waters of Fairplay Beach. For the next 20 to 30 miles, the South Platte River meanders through almost continuous wetlands, prime mercury methylation areas. Sediments from those operations are entering our ecosystem. The above two images represent Google Earth images from 2010 and 2017. From 1999 to 2010, the sandbar, which is represented on the left photo by the yellow pins, remained nearly identical from 1999 to 2010. Starting in 2011, mining operations began at the AU mine, 800 feet upstream. By 2017, the sandbar had grown to the photo on the right. If you look at the yellow pins, they're in the same place. They have not moved. This represents nearly 1/5 of Fairplay Beach's surface area has been lost to sedimentation, presumably from the recent mining activity. Now the pollution is potentially in our air as well. In the summer of 2017, a sand and gravel operation began crushing dredge rock piles created by the South Platte Dredge. These piles are the piles that we visited earlier, created by the South Platte Dredge east of 285. Crushing operations are generating huge amounts of dust as the old dredge piles are crushed. The crushed rock is then loaded into 50 to 60 semis daily and driven 80 miles down 285 to the Front Range uncovered. What's happening if those dredge piles are contaminated with mercury? Additionally, the USGS has identified the ponds created by the dredge as the most highly contaminated sediments created by dredging operations. Within the permit for the sand and gravel operation, it is specifically stated the fines from the on-site ponds shall be used as topsoil for reclamation. Is this potentially mobilizing the mercury from the ponds? And where is it going? We must preserve our local economy, the health of our environment, our way of life, and the health of our children. The South Platte River, like so many rivers nationwide, is the lifeblood of our county. It is home to family ranching operations, has been designated by the Colorado Wildlife Commission as a gold medal fishery, and includes a legendary section of river known as the Dream Stream. It also serves as a primary water source for Denver, Aurora, and Colorado Springs. Should this river become contaminated by methylmercury, the dreams, livelihood, and the economy of Park County could be crushed for the foreseeable future. Save South Park is proposing the following actions. 1, test Fairplay Beach water, fish, and flora for methylmercury. 2, test mining operation soil sites or site soils, recirculation ponds, dredge ponds, mining sediments, and dredge piles. 3, locate all potentially contaminated sites. 4, start a monitoring program. 5, stop all mining operations on historic areas if contamination is found until remediation and safety plans are implemented. 6, permits should require mercury management plans and public input. 7, stabilize all disturbed piles. 8, public notice in all affected communities. 9, comply with the IRMA standard for mercury management. And 10, state agencies should review California and Colorado regulations and update appropriately. In conclusion, extreme precautions must be taken to ensure that the river and its tributaries are not contaminated by the release of legacy mercury from newly permitted mining operations. It is critical that Colorado regulatory agencies investigate and address any potential for methyl mercury contamination, as well as effectively address any residual problems created by past operations. We cannot risk sacrificing our water, our future, and our children's health to the environmentally damaging operations of some miners and the hazardous fallout of their ventures. Please sign up for a free email copy of our report, Saving South Park, at our booth and back. Thank you.